All right, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, aka GMS. Shalom to the whole field elect, beginning with the 144,000. Shalom, and it look like I still see a little sunlight outside, even though the Sabbath, the Shabbat's coming to an end. So I still say Shabbat Shalom, right? And this lesson will be titled Scriptural Understanding of Death, right? Within our lifespan, we die, have family members, relatives, close friends, people we're close to, whatever the case may be, right? Pass away, right? Encounter death, people love to, blame the devil for these things, right? But in reality, it's the Heavenly Father, right? And I'm going to start off with Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39, and it reads, "See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no power with me." He's saying there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. So they're just showing you right there that it's the Heavenly Father that does the killing, right? Not Satan and things of that says, hey, it's the Heavenly Father. And I was finna say, once you pass away, right? You don't go to hell, right? In a sense, that's what Christianity preaches, that when you pass away, right? If you was wicked or sin in this life, that you'll go to, that is a place that you would go, or you'll burn for eternity, right? That you'll burn for eternity with the red man down in the horns, right? No, that's false, right? Hell is a condition, right? We're living in hell, right? As of now, right? The things that we're going through, the things that we've been through, it's a condition, right? When you pass away, your spirit go back up to the spiritual realm, right? Go back up there with the Heavenly Father, right? And that's where it's peace, beautiful and things of that such. Even Paul spoke about it, but he can't explain it, but that's how beautiful it was. All right, so let's continue on. He said, I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand, right? So it's only one and only Heavenly Father, but this Heavenly Father do all things, right? He the one that kill, make alive. He the one that wound and heal, right? When someone get healed from cancer, it's the Heavenly Father, right? When somebody get diagnosed with cancer, it's the Heavenly Father, right? The Heavenly Father does all these things. I'm going to grab a quick precept. Oh, so like you to furthermore prove that. In the Book of Psalms. Plantation, got the best of me today. But we still got to do the works, right? It's the Book of Psalms, chapter 68 and verse 20. And it reads, He that is our power is the power of salvation, right? And the Heavenly Father is, a Yahweh, right? He the power of salvation, right? But the point being is right here, he's saying, and unto the Heavenly Father, the Lord, belong the issues from death, right? So it's the Heavenly Father that what it says, belong the issues from death, right? So it's the Heavenly Father, right? Once again, it's not Satan, and and you have to know and understand, right? Just for instance, speaking about, stillborns, right? When the baby, pass away in the womb, right at birth, whatever the case may be, and that's all of the Lord, right? That's either judgment for what the baby done in his past life, or just the Lord showing mercy, right? That for that, that child or that person, because it's all the same spirits, right? It's just being regenerated back upon the face of the earth, right? But what was I finna say? Yeah, like I said, that could be kind. So it could be the Most High showing mercy, because that person could be able to bear the things that that they have to deal with upon the face of the earth, right? Just like the prophet, I believe it was Job, right, and many more prophets, they were saying like, I'd rather be up there with the Heavenly Father. Like man, why the hell, I'm on this earth, right? Like, shit, I really be up there in the Heavenly Father, because why? You go through hell down here, man. You go through so much shit down here, rather than the head or down the spiritual realm. You ain't going through none of that, man. It's peace up there, right? You ain't got to worry about things. You ain't got to have anxiety and be stressed and got to worry about, waking up for work and all those things. You ain't have to worry about all those things, man. Let's, so this Job, the third chapter, right? And let's start at verse 10. It said, because it it reads, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from my eyes. From my eyes. Hold on. Let's see if I want to get some of the context. Uh, Point being, these right here. It's the point. But I guess I'll start up at verse 1. Right, so this is Job, the third chapter, and verse 1, and it reads, it said, after this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. And let's go to this in NLT. We'll read it from the Blue Letter Bible. All right. So this is Job, the third chapter, verse 1 in NLT. Said, at last Job spoke, and he cursed the day of his birth. He said, let the day of my birth be erased, and the night I was conceived. Right. So why did he curse it? Because why he didn't want to be born. As y'all know, Job, the second chapter, the first chapter, the Heavenly Father, sent Satan out there to, to go, to do these things to Job. He told him, like, you can do all these things, do what you want, but just don't kill him. Right, Job, saying put Job through that hell, right? Killed his family, everything that he had was gone, right? All this, right? And because, Job was perfect, right, in the Lord's eyes, right? He was a great servant, right? And Satan was like, hey, I can do these things, and he'll, basically talk shit about you, right? But Job never did that, right? So now he's like, man, let the day of my birth be erased in the night I was conceived. Because why? Job went through that hell, right? And that's how it is upon this earth, man. We go through so much hell and so much stress and so much bullshit. Like, man, damn, why was I even born? Like, man, I'd rather be out there with the Heavenly Father. So let's continue on. Verse 4, NOT. It says, let that day be turned to darkness. Let it be lost even to the Heavenly Father on high, and let no light shine on it. Right? It says, let the darkness and utter gloom claim that day for its own. Let a black cloud overshadow it, and let the darkness terrify it. Let the night be blotted off the calendar, never again to be counted among the days of the year, never again to appear among the months, right? And y'all know we don't even supposed to celebrate our birthdays to begin with, right? So verse 7 said, let that night be childless, let it have no joy. Let those who are experts at cursing, whose cursing could rouse Leviathan, curse that day, right? He said, let its morning stars remain dark. Let it hope for light, but in vain may it never see the morning light. Right, and I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna start reading KJV and NLT. Right, starting at verse 10. He said, because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from my eyes. It said, curse that day for falling to shut my mother's womb, for letting me be born to see all this trouble. Right, and that's what it is. Right, we get born into sin. We born into a wicked kingdom, right? Because we're under the captivity, under the authority of the wicked, which is who? Esau, Edom, right? We're born into all this trouble, right? All this bullshit. We born in the hood. We born in poverty, right? We born in tribulation, right? Afflictions, especially as a so-called black man. All right, so let's continue on, right? Verse 11 say, why died Salakia, now just got a pain in my tooth, right? But this verse 11 in KJV say, why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? He said, why was I born dead? Why didn't I die as I came from the womb? He questioning this, like, man, I done been through all this shit. Like, man, why didn't the Lord just take me out then? Like, verse 12, he said, why did the knees prevent me, or why the breast that I should suck? He says, I'm going to just continue on verse 13. He said, for now should I have lain still and been quiet, right? And this is going to, like I said, those stillborns, right? And he said, man, quiet, I should have slept then had I been at rest, right? And that slept meaning what? Meaning he should have died, right? And that's the hard shit that we have to go through, man. Being here in Babylon the Great, being, upon the face of this earth, right? Because you get brought down on this earth to live out your judgment, right? To live out your judgment, because we really from the spiritual world. We really from the spiritual realm, right? And let's furthermore prove that. We'll grab this real quick in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15, verse 16, right? And it reads, "For men made them," and yeah, I get straight to the point. So this is Wisdom of Solomon 15 to 16 said, "For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them, but no man can make a God, make a power like unto himself," right? And we only here for a season, right? When your spirit separate from your body, it go back to the throne of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, right? That's where our spirits are from, right? And that's why the Lord says, hold on, I grab it real quick. Fear not, he that kill. It's in Matthew's, I'm mistaken. Kill spirit. So this is Matthew 10 to 28, and it reads, "And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul." Because you gotta know, understand, once you pass away, your body go back into as dust, right? We go furthermore, prove that and grad and Ecclesiastes, but that's what it does, right? That's why once you realize what death truly is, then that's because your spirit never, your spirit never dies, right? It's just that your spirit separates from this fleshly body, right? For a time until you be regenerated back upon the face of this earth. So this Matthew 10 and 28 saying, "Fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell," right? So, like it's in the hell, right? Meaning what that condition, right? Because what the Lord can, put you in a coma, right? He can trap your spirit inside your body, right? He can, put you in a coma, right? Paralyze you, right? He can do all sorts of things to you, right? So that's why you have to fear Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, right? But let's get back to that Job, right? We'll start back up at verse 13, right? And it reads, "For now should I have lain still and been quiet," right? Once again, right? I mentioned those stillborns, right? Or when they die die coming out of the womb, or die in the womb, or there's either the Lord showing mercy that they don't got to go through this trouble upon the face of the earth, or there's the Lord showing judgment, right, from what they did from their past life. So it says, I should have slept, meaning what? Meaning he should have died. He said, then I have been at rest, right? Then that's basically the point right there, But I finish off to verse 16. So it says, verse 14, I read it from NLT. It said, "I will rest with the world's kings and prime ministers, whose great buildings now lie in ruins. I will rest with princes rich in gold, whose palaces were filled with silver." Right? He said, "Why was I buried like a stillborn child, like a baby who never lives to see the light? For in the death the wicked cause no trouble, and the weary are at rest," right? And that's what we have to go through, man. These, these the things or the thoughts that, Job, I believe it was Paul, right? Maybe a few more other prophets, right, was going through, right? And even ourselves, we go through this hard city, the Lord tell you, we brought to a lower state, take it cheerfully. But even then, we still be feeling like, damn, man, like, I didn't ask to be born. Like, oh, why the fuck is I have to go through all this bullshit, right? But it's all of the Lord, right? It's all of the Lord. And I'll finish it off in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. We'll start at verse 20. Right? And and it reads they all going to I start up at verse 19. Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab it in the KJV Apocrypha. So all right, so Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and bear with me. All right, so I'll just get straight to the point. All right, so like here. All right, okay. So I start up at verse 19, right? So the Ecclesiastes 3 and 19, right? So it says, for that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts, even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yet they have all one breath, so that a man have no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All going to one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust. Again, right, and that dust is referring to everyone, right? It says, once you pass away, you go to the spiritual world, and go to the spiritual world with the Heavenly Father, right? As some will call the fifth dimension, and things of that such, right? Verse 21 say, who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth, right? So the spirit of the man going upward, right? Meaning what? Going up, right, to the because those beasts of the field, they don't have any laws, commandments, right, and statutes and things like that, but the man does. Right, so it says, who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore I preserve that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, right? For that is his portion. For whom shall bring him to see what shall be after him, right? And and like it says in verse 22, wherefore I preserve that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, right? Because while we down here, right, we seem to do what? Follow the laws, commandments, right? Do the thing that is lawful, right? So like it says, rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion, right? But then when you go to the Heavenly Father, right, Lord said, okay, you did this and that and this while you upon the face of the earth, so then you got to go live out your judgment, right? So it said, for who shall bring him to see what shall be after him, right? And that's all on this lesson. Lord, whether it was edifying, just a quick things are going into depth of things that says how your spirit goes back up into the spiritual realm, and that your spirit don't you know don't go into a place where it is burned for eternity, right? That's false information. That's bullshit. If you still believe like that, you're retarded, right? And with that being said, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Us again, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Kakradash. Until next time.